After the age of 60, some foods are no longer safe. In fact, they can become a hidden poison lurking in daily habits. It may sound exaggerated, but modern nutritional science is pointing to a troubling reality. Foods that seem harmless and appear on our tables every day may be contributing to memory decline, liver damage, increased risk of stroke, and the worsening of chronic diseases in older adults. Many people in their 60s still believe, "I feel fine. I've been eating this way for years and nothing's wrong." But what many don't realize is that aging doesn't just show in your skin or hair. It happens in your liver, heart, intestines, blood vessels, immune system, and even your metabolism. What your body could easily handle at 40 might become a burden at 65. Indeed, after 60, your body is like an old car that needs different fuel. The liver detoxifies more slowly. The stomach produces fewer digestive enzymes. The kidneys filter less effectively. The heart struggles with excess fat. And joints are more vulnerable than ever. All of this means that poor eating habits are no longer just about indigestion or bloating. They can trigger a chain of serious consequences: silent inflammation, metabolic disorders, visceral fat buildup, vascular damage, cognitive decline, and even cancer. What's more concerning is that harmful foods aren't exotic or unfamiliar. They might already be in your fridge, on your weekend menu, or in meals thought to be healthy for seniors. They often come disguised as attractive, familiar, and even nutritious options. But it's exactly because they're so familiar that older adults often let their guard down, allowing their bodies to quietly endure the damage without even knowing it. Not all foods are harmful, but certain groups of foods and drinks, when introduced into an aging body, are no longer processed as effectively as before. They can clog arteries, disrupt hormonal balance, trigger inflammation, and accelerate degeneration. If you've ever wondered, why do I feel more tired after eating as I get older? Why are conditions like diabetes, fatty liver, or high blood pressure worsening even when my diet hasn't changed? Why is my sleep restless, my mornings sluggish, my memory noticeably worse? Then the problem may not be your age. It may be what you're eating every day. And that's exactly why you need to know the 8 foods listed below, no matter how familiar they may seem, could be silently taking a toll on your health day by day. If you're consuming any of them regularly, it's time to take a closer look. Are you eating something that seems harmless? Not because it's crispy, visually appealing, and tastes good, but is the reason you feel tired and uncomfortable for hours afterward? Many older adults still add fried dishes to their family meals. Fried fish, French fries, fried chicken, even crispy batter cakes, thinking these are just side dishes or for fun. But in reality, when foods are deep fried at high temperatures, they create a triple burden on the aging body. Difficult to digest, loaded with harmful fats, and producing cellular toxins. After 60, your stomach no longer produces enzymes like before, your intestines work more slowly, and your liver, the organ responsible for processing fat, has become less efficient and more vulnerable to damage from excess oil. That means a crispy piece of fried meat that passed through your body in a few hours at age 40 might now, at age 65, take half a day to process, possibly causing bloating, insomnia, or dull abdominal discomfort for no apparent reason. Worse still, many studies have shown that frying food at high heat produces harmful substances like acrylamide and ages, 2 leading culprits of chronic inflammation, accelerated cellular aging, and increased risk of cancer, heart disease, and diabetes. And do you know what's even scarier? These fried foods are often very easy to eat, rich in flavor, and aromatic. They deceive the aging taste buds, which are gradually dulling, making you eat more without realizing it. That's why, according to statistics from the National Institute of Nutrition, eating fried foods daily can increase your risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes by up to 40%. So if you've ever felt bloated, had trouble sleeping, or felt drained after meals that included fried food, chances are that's not just a temporary symptom. It's your body's way of telling you it's time to say goodbye to what was once a beloved dish. Are you pleasing your palate but punishing your body? If you've ever had to take stomach medication or lost sleep after a fried dinner, share your story. Many others are also on a journey to improve their eating habits, and your story could be a valuable inspiration to them. But it's not just golden, crispy fried foods that pose a threat. Even foods that are carefully processed through multiple steps, look clean, hygienic, and are attractively packaged and labeled for seniors, can quietly rob your body of the nutrients it desperately needs. Many people opt for canned foods, ready-to-eat meals, or slow-cooked dishes, thinking they're easier to chew, more digestible, and better suited to weak teeth and aging digestion. But what they don't realize is that overprocessing, repeated cooking, long storage, added flavor enhancers, artificial softeners, destroys nearly all the natural vitamins, digestive enzymes, and dietary fiber, all of which are critically important for older adults. An aging digestive system is like fragile soil in a garden. Without enough raw nourishment to feed the gut's beneficial bacteria, you become prone to constipation, bloating, chronic colitis, and poor nutrient absorption. Not to mention, heavily processed foods often contain large amounts of salt, sugar, or artificial sweeteners to maintain taste. And for older adults, these are the silent enemies that raise blood pressure, strain the kidneys, and worsen diabetes. According to a report from the American Geriatrics Nutrition Association, people over 60 who consume processed foods more than 5 times a week have a 65% higher risk of developing heart disease and metabolic syndrome compared to those who eat fresh, simple meals at home. In other words, convenience sometimes comes at a steep price, a shortened lifespan, declining memory, and a body that can no longer bounce back after every bout of fatigue. Have you ever felt that even when eating regular meals, you still lack energy, feel sluggish, look pale, sleep restlessly, and become irritable more easily? Don't be quick to blame age. The real issue might lie in the very foods you think are harmless, but have been processed too much for too long and strayed far from nature. But it doesn't stop at overcooked meals. Even cooking methods that create mouth-watering aromas and appeal strongly to the senses, such as grilling over open charcoal flames, pose serious risks for those over 60. Surely, you found it hard to resist the smell of perfectly grilled meat, seared edges, glistening fat, evoking memories of family gatherings and joyful weekends. Yet few realize that grilling directly over high heat not only alters the structure of the protein in meat, but also produces highly dangerous compounds like HCAs, heterocyclic amines, and PAHs, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, both classified by the International Agency for Research on Cancer as likely human carcinogens. In middle age, the body may still be able to neutralize these agents to some extent, but after 60, a weakened immune system, slower liver detoxification, and inflamed tissues take much longer to heal, meaning that just one grilled meal could have lingering effects for days or even contribute to long-term chronic damage. What's more, grilled foods often have charred surfaces, and this burnt layer is exactly where the most dangerous compounds concentrate. Older adults, with weaker teeth, tend to prefer the softest parts, often the skin or outer layers, which absorb the most toxins. It's also worth noting that grilled foods are usually served with rich sauces full of salt, sugar, and oil, adding even more stress to the heart, liver, and digestive system. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that older adults who ate grilled foods more than twice a week had liver enzyme levels twice as high as those who didn't, and their recovery from gastrointestinal inflammation was 40% slower. Are you holding on to grilled foods as a way to enjoy your golden years? If you've ever felt tired, had a dry mouth, lost sleep, or experienced bloating after a barbecue meal, your body may already be sending you a warning. As we go deeper, you'll start to realize that it's not just cooking methods, but also the kinds of drinks we choose to cool down or soothe our bodies that can be hidden traps. One very common habit among older adults, especially during summer or after meals, is drinking a glass of ice-cold water or a chilled beverage with carbonation, sometimes even accompanied by a little alcohol to help with sleep. At first, it feels refreshing, cool, and even stimulating. But behind that short-lived comfort lies a cascade of disruptions that often go unnoticed. After 60, the autonomic nervous system becomes more sensitive to sudden temperature changes. Introducing cold liquids into the body can cause blood vessels to constrict rapidly, reducing blood flow to the stomach, slowing down digestive enzyme secretion, and making food harder to break down. The result? Bloating, acid reflux, indigestion, and in prolonged cases, gastritis. What's more concerning is that in many cases, the ice used isn't properly sanitized, potentially carrying bacteria, mold, or harmful contaminants, which is especially risky for those with weakened immune systems. Additionally, when consumed alongside carbonated or alcoholic drinks, the damage is compounded, further burdening the liver and central nervous system, disturbing sleep, causing erratic blood pressure and irregular heart rhythms. According to statistics from the Center for Senior Health, over 30% of older adults with chronic digestive issues reported long-term habits of drinking cold water or iced beverages after meals. Maybe you once thought a little ice was harmless, just for cooling down or aiding digestion. But your body is no longer the same, and every cold drink is now a challenge your digestive system must brace itself for. Have you ever felt a cold belly, chills, or had loose stools after drinking something cold? If you've experienced this and had to change the habit for your health, you're not alone. Share your experience, because many others are also standing at the crossroads between habit and healing. It may come as a surprise to learn that certain foods, often labeled as healthy and even considered daily staples by many older adults, can have negative effects on blood vessels, the heart, and even hormones, if consumed incorrectly or too frequently. One such group includes plant-based, protein-rich foods that are widely seen as ideal substitutes for red meat. You've likely heard many people recommend plant-based diets as being better for heart health and digestion. But what they often fail to mention is this. In older adults, the body's ability to metabolize plant-based proteins, especially when consumed in excess, is no longer the same as in younger years. Certain compounds in these foods, particularly phytoestrogens, can lead to hormonal imbalances when consumed in large quantities over extended periods. Furthermore, overuse of processed products made from these plants, especially industrially manufactured powders, fortified beverages, and protein supplements, can increase uric acid levels, impair endothelial function, and reduce the elasticity of blood vessels. All of this contributes to a higher risk of metabolic disorders, placing greater strain on the heart and kidneys, two organs that already function less efficiently with age. According to a meta-analysis, older adults who consumed these foods 5 to 6 times per week had a 20% earlier decline in vascular function compared to those with more moderate intake. What's more alarming is that, due to their long-standing healthy reputation, many seniors do not approach these foods with caution, making no effort to limit portion sizes. And when symptoms like heart fatigue, palpitations, mild swelling, or shortness of breath appear, they're often dismissed as simply signs of aging, without realizing the culprit might be a trusted food on their plate. In the journey to preserve health in later life, some foods once considered nutritious, precious, or even traditional remedies may no longer have the same positive meaning when viewed through the lens of modern medicine, particularly for aging bodies. A prime example is a group of foods high in protein, cholesterol, and purines, once thought to be powerful sources of energy, but now known to silently contribute to a range of chronic illnesses in those over 60. These foods are often prepared as rich, flavorful dishes, stewed, stir-fried, or braised, and are commonly served on special occasions. This makes them hard for older adults to refuse, as they are both appetizing and tied to nostalgic family meals. However, the dense cholesterol content in these foods can easily promote atherosclerosis, trigger blood pressure fluctuations, and overload the liver as it tries to process the accompanying fats and toxins. In addition, the high purine levels accelerate the accumulation of uric acid, a key cause of gout and arthritis, two conditions that are common and difficult to manage in older adults. According to a specialized report, regular consumption of these foods increases the risk of lipid disorders by up to 60% and is clearly linked to declining kidney function in individuals over 65. Unfortunately, because these foods are deeply rooted in long-standing habits and evoke powerful memories of family and joy, many people continue to eat them, even knowing the risks. Over time, this often leads to an increased dependence on medications for blood pressure, gout, or diuretics. What's even more concerning is that some threats don't come from traditional meals, aren't heavily seasoned or cooked, but appear instead in the form of a bottle in the fridge, a chilled can during a casual gathering, or a drink believed to bring alertness and relaxation on a summer afternoon. Many older adults, especially those with a declining appetite, tend to reach for these beverages to feel instantly refreshed. However, what they don't see is that these drinks often contain a chemical cocktail that can seriously impact the liver, cardiovascular system, and nervous system. Drinks with bright colors, unusually sweet flavors, and a fizzy sensation on the tongue often contain a mix of artificial compounds, from synthetic sweeteners and industrial flavorings to colorants and preservatives. In younger people, the liver and kidneys can still handle some of these toxins, but after the age of 60, when the liver's detox capabilities are already declining and sugar metabolism becomes unstable, consuming such beverages is like adding pressure to an already exhausted system. According to a published study, older adults who consume soft drinks and artificial beverages at least 3 times a week have a 45% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes and a significantly increased incidence of metabolic syndrome. Worse still, the light, easy-to-drink sweetness misleads older adults into thinking these drinks are safe, when in fact they provide no nutritional value and can even increase cravings for snacks, leading to poor weight and blood sugar control. And then, there's one final silent culprit that quietly embeds itself in daily eating habits. Not flashy or as obvious as fried foods or sodas, yet strangely enticing and quietly addictive. Sugar. It's the sweetness in biscuits, hard candies, an afternoon slice of cake, or even a spoonful of honey drizzled over bread, or a cup of seemingly healthy bottled tea. After 60, as taste sensitivity fades, the craving for sweetness often intensifies, leading many older adults into a cycle of sugary desserts and snacks to relieve stress, kill time, or simply cheer up. But what many don't realize is that every spoonful of sugar at this age doesn't just raise blood glucose. It triggers inflammation, accelerates cellular aging, weakens bones, and negatively affects memory. Studies show that excessive sugar consumption in older adults is directly linked to osteoporosis, reduced bone density, and imbalances in gut microbiota, leading to digestive issues, weakened immunity, and disrupted metabolism. Worse yet, sugar stimulates dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for feelings of pleasure, offering short-term satisfaction but creating dependency. This forms a cycle of craving, eating, sugar spike, fatigue, craving again. And so, the body gradually wears down, and no one realizes the cause. For seniors, the consequences come faster and more clearly, from weight gain and unstable blood sugar to brittle bones, slow wound healing, and early memory decline. Have you ever felt that inner conflict when holding a piece of cake, wanting to enjoy it, but worried about your blood sugar? If you've ever taken the step to reduce sugar in your diet, Choosing natural fruits over candy or desserts, that's not just a small change. It's a powerful act of self-care. Share your choice, because when one person starts, many others may find the courage to start too. We've just walked through 8 types of foods that may seem harmless, yet could pose silent dangers for those over 60. Crispy fried dishes that tempt the taste buds but are hard to digest and release toxic compounds when cooked at high temperatures. Overprocessed foods are stripped of nutrients and fiber and overloaded with salt, sugar, and additives, exhausting the digestive system. Grilled favorites are filled with enticing aromas but also carcinogenic compounds. Ice-cold drinks that seem refreshing but disrupt digestive enzymes and weaken the intestinal lining. Plant-based foods that appear healthy, but in excess, may disrupt blood vessels and place extra strain on the heart. Richly seasoned organ meats packed with cholesterol and purines, hidden culprits behind high blood pressure and overwhelmed liver and kidneys. Fizzing, artificially sweetened beverages that trick the senses while spiking blood sugar and disrupting liver and enzyme function. And finally, sweetness, whether from cookies, candies, or a seemingly innocent cup of tea, subtly creates dependency, trading joint, heart, and brain health for a fleeting moment of indulgence. As someone who accompanies and advises older adults on their health journey, I've seen the surprise in people's eyes when they realize the very foods they trusted were worsening their fatty liver, destabilizing blood sugar, or accelerating memory loss. But I've also seen remarkable transformations. People who started with simple changes like quitting sodas, cutting back on fried foods, or switching to gentler cooking methods like steaming or light boiling. The results? Better sleep, lighter moods, fewer medications, and a growing confidence in themselves day by day. Being over 60 isn't just a time for rest. It's when the body needs smarter care than ever before. Don't let familiar foods silently burden your liver, heart, or brain. You don't need to give up everything, but be mindful enough to choose what still fits your body in this new stage of life. Have you ever given up a certain food for the sake of your health? A dish you once loved, but dared to let go to protect yourself? Share that story, because it's more than a personal choice. It could be an invisible gift to someone still hesitating to make a change. If you found this content helpful, don't forget to follow and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on future insights about health, nutrition, and quality of life after 60. There's still so much more for us to explore together, and I truly look forward to continuing this journey with you.